I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed days
on its area of effect with another out-of-the-box build, this time a ridiculously powerful Nightblade, a Stamina Nightblade. We've got so much direct damage, AoE. There's an insanely deadly combo, which I'm showing in slow motion here. We'll go over the sets. Watch this cleave, watch the damage, the tooltip, and especially the ones with crit. 53,000, 28,000 non-crit with one cleave. We're going to get into how you can put this build together. It is nuts. In groups or even one-on-one. We got two setups. Look at the stat screen. This one's with a full Balorg, and this one's with like a 300 Balorg. But look at the resistances and the penetration, the recovery, over 3,000. And this one is the one I would recommend for more stability. It's with Immolator Char. Helps keep you on your feet, helps keep you from getting locked down, and adds a ton of survivability. Yet it ain't lacking power. Smoked Bear Haunch is the food we're going with for all sorts of recoveries. We want magic recovery as well from the Smoked Bear and the Atronach Mundus for a lot of ability to cloak. We don't want to run out of magic. We are a vampire. We're keeping it stage 2 for the extra 300 spell damage and weapon damage passive while coming out of invisibility. And the race we are in this build is an orc. We're going with those passives for the max stam, adding an extra 1,000 to this build. That's going to go a long way. Max health, adding an extra 1,000. The 22 almost 100 health you get every 4 seconds when dealing damage. That's great constant health replenishment. And Swift Warrior, weapon and spell damage by 258 and reduces the cost of sprint and increases the movement speed bonus of sprint by 10%. A lot of mobility on this build. All right, let's get into your favorite part, the gear. We got the Master's Greatsword sharpened with a Berserker glyph. Look at that trait, increases the direct damage cleave will deal by 1,550 for each enemy in the range. So with one target, you're going to get that bonus times 1. When you get 2, 3, 4 guys and you cleave, that damage is multiplied exponentially. The monster set I referenced, Immolator Char, we got it Divines. Gives you some resistance, 1,400 armor, max health. When you take damage while below 50% health, gain immunity to immobilization, snares, crowd control effects, including stuns, for 10 seconds. Then it's down for 30 seconds, but you only find yourself in that position every so often, so it keeps us alive. Jack of Rushing Agony. Rushing Agony is our next 5-piece set. It's a medium armor set, and this set is nuts. Let's take a look at the stats. Stam recovery, weapon and spell damage, penetration. When you deal direct damage with a blink charge leap, basically a gap closer, you pull all enemies within 10 meters of you. You explode for 10,000 physical damage to all of them. But again, it pulls them to you every 8 seconds, and this does not apply crowd control immunity to the target. So after they get pulled to you, you can then fear or stun, or even if you had a DK, you could then fossilize. It's nuts. So when you lunge on in, you're going to suck everybody to you in a range right around you, and then it's going to deal damage to them in an AoE. And also you can then stun them because it doesn't apply immunity. Look at the red explosion, bam, 7,500 damage just as the proc for that. And this works great with the Master's Cleave because when you get them in range, you can then swing that and everybody's multiplying your damage and also multiplying your shield, by the way, for the morph that we picked, and I'll get into that when we get to skills. Next 5-piece set, Scavenging Demise. Now this is our single target proc, but it deals a lot of damage, especially when it crits. In PvE, it can deal over 20k. In PvP, of course, with Battle Spirit and resistances, 10k is not hard to get. Weapon and spell damage, weapon crit. When you deal critical damage, poison damage, you summon the Scavenging Maw, who will appear after 2 seconds and deal 15,000 damage to the enemy, and also marks them with minor vulnerability, increasing all their damage taken by 5%. This is awesome because we can almost guarantee with the bow here, now you can see we got the 4th and 5th trait will be active, sharpened by the way. You can almost guarantee the enemy's going to get hit by the maw by lunging on in and fearing them with Rushing Agony and Fear. So we'll go and cloak, we'll snipe, there's the crit hit, there's the maw. Did you see the tooltip there? over 22k. Now the red smoke on him means he's affected with minor vulnerability. All of his damage is going to be increased by 5%. Let's move into the skills now. On the two-handed bar, Killer's Blade. It's an execute. It'll deal a flat almost 5,000 disease damage, but we want that scaling up bonus damage for execute. Up to 400% more damage if they're less than 50% health. And then you get healed after they are hit if they die within 2 seconds. So it's definitely a great look. Not very much damage when this target's got this much health, but you'll see if you go back and watch the clips, we got some pretty high finishing tooltips in those clips in PvP. So the next skill, Brawler. And this is a skill we use that goes hand in hand with the Master's Greatsword. It deals 7,200 physical damage in a cone in front of you, but you get almost a 7,000 point damage shield for 6 seconds, and each enemy in the area increases a damage shield strength by up to 300% depending on how many enemies are there. So with Rush and Agony, calling everybody to our circle here, there's the damage shield, the smoky circle. We're going to increase our damage with the Master's Greatsword and increase our damage shield strength with this skill, Brawler. You could pick the other morph, and that's going to give you more bleed damage. But the next skill, Stampede, this is our gap closer. Almost 6,000 physical damage. It's always a critical strike, and this is what we're going to use to proc Rushing Agony. You could use the Nightblade's teleport strike or one of its morphs, but we're using Stampede. There's the crit hit. You lunge on in. I love that you could just gap close, and of course, like I said, it's going to proc Rushing Agony, so everybody is going to be sucked right to us. The next skill we're looking at here is Rally, and this is going to give us our major brutality and major sorcery. And also, we picked the morph, of course, Rally, that gives us minor endurance and gives us a heal once the effect is ended, 15% every 1 second, up to a maximum of 300%. So it can be a pretty big, beefy heal. You can time it earlier by casting it earlier before the 20 seconds expires, where you could wait the full duration. The next skill, Masked Hysteria. This is our fear, our AoE fear. It also gives them major cowardice, reducing their weapon and spell damage by 430. So we lunge on in, Rushing Agony, boom, there it goes off. You saw the tooltip, over 12k, and then we fear, and they're just double CC'd. I love it. The next skill, Berserker Rage. Now we picked the morph that's going to give us the CC immunity and the physical and spell resistance equal to the amount it carved through the enemy versus the offensive penetration, because we're already pretty high on the offensive penetration. 15,000 physical damage. This will ignore the enemy's resistance, but then you get the physical and spell resistance of the amount ignored for 8 seconds. But you are immune to all disabling effects, snare, mobilization, stuns. This morph combined with Immolator Char is why we are so survivable. There's so much getaway, it's hard to keep you locked down. So there's the snipe from ranged, there's Scavenging Demise, there's 27,000, almost 28,000 damage, and the red glow on me is the benefits, buffs, and stuff for the resistances and the immunity. So a fantastic ultimate on the two-handed bar. Let's move into the other bar now, the bow bar. Our first skill, Lethal Arrow. It deals 9,500 poison damage, and it always applies the poison status effect. But we're almost always going to cast this from stealth, so we can guarantee proc the Scavenging Maw from the Scavenging Demise 5-piece set. So we go ahead, buffed up here, go into stealth, snipe right here. There it was, 13,000 crit. Here is the Maw, over 20k. So we're going to be able to proc him on command with that skill. If you don't like that skill, you can use Poison Injection in place of snipe. You can fire it off quicker too. Next skill, Resolving Vigor. 23,000 health over 5 seconds. It's our stamina heal, and also gives us minor resolve, increasing our resistances by almost 3,000 for 20 seconds. So it's just an irreplaceable skill, a very powerful heal over time. Next skill, Relentless Focus. Now this one's kind of cool. For 1 minute, it's up, and for 5 light attacks, you'll get 300 weapon and spell damage buff that will stay on you. But then you could use it after gaining 5 and fire off the Assassin Scourge. It's like a spectral arrow, almost 17k damage. You can do it from range, but but then it will heal you for a portion if you're within melee range when you fire it. 22,000 was the damage there. Now the B button is off. So 1, 2, look at the B button. That can even go to this bar, 3, 4, 5. It's ready, and you'll see now the B button symbol is purple. So I can cast this and consume it. There it was, 21,000, but now I've got to build 5 back up. 2, 3, 4, 5. You hear the sound, and it's ready. You could just sit on that too when you want for the spell damage and weapon damage buff. Next skill, Shrewd Offering. We picked the morph that's going to cost a little less health, but this heals us at the cost of health. So almost 14k. Look at the health on me, 270. So I'm hurting myself for a big chunky heal. And it's actually, I wanted a Magicka-based heal on this build if we're ever depleted of stamina. And we get a lot of Magicka recovery, like I said earlier on, for this skill right here. Shadowy Disguise. This is Cloak. You're invisible for 3 seconds. Your next direct damage attack will always be a critical strike as long as it's cast within 3 seconds, which is, of course, the duration of your cloak. You can see it says hidden. So when you cast this, you got a timer. Mine is right bumper. You'll see the timer ticks down. You got 3 seconds to fire off your snipe. There it was, 13,000. Here comes the maw. Non-crit, almost 12k. All right, the last skill on this bar, the ultimate, we're going with Soul Tether. It costs 158 as a vamp stage 2. You deal 13,000, almost 14,000 direct damage around you, magic damage. It stuns the enemies in an AoE around you for 4 seconds. And enemies within the area are tethered to you for 8 seconds within 10 meters. And you steal health from them, so it damages them and heals you per enemy for that duration if you can stay tethered. Offers a synergy to the allies as well. I'll show you the tether here. You blow up 18,000 damage. There's the tether. He's getting damaged. I'm not getting crit hits, but I would take the heal from his damage. Now we will check out the champion point screen. As always, the blue tree first. Fighting Finesse increases our critical damage and critical healing by 8%. We want that in this build because we're dealing some pretty good crit numbers. Master at Arms increases the direct damage by 6%. A lot of direct damage on this build, both AoE and single target. Endless Endurance is just going to give us some more max stamina, 1,300. I like to stay over 30k. This helps us do that. And Untamed Aggression, 150 weapon and spell damage to make everything we do a bit more powerful on this build. Change it if you'd like. The red trees now, Boundless Vitality, 1,400 max health, just helping us get a little bit more health bar, more time there to respond to things. Fortified, 1,700 plus armor, physical and spell resistance, making us a little bit thicker. And then Rejuvenation, 90 health, Magicka, and Stamina Recovery at all times. That goes a long way with Zorga's Smoked Bear Haunch. And Sustained by Suffering, an additional 150 Magicka, health, and Stamina Recovery when we are under the effects of a negative effect. That is all the time in PvP. And that's going to wrap up the champion point screen and also wrap up this build. If you liked this build or even just the video and you want to see more, head on over to my channel. I've got plenty of content on there, something for everybody, all classes. Don't forget to like, comment, let me know what you would do differently. Please share and definitely subscribe. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Area of Effect, signing out.